Twan, thank you very much for doing this podcast. I really appreciate it. It's nice that you are my first guest because Muzikxpress was actually the channel that inspired me to do this. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Oh well, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, I've always been interested in the old classics and how they got made and things like that, just like you. Speaking of classics, I saw that you just purchased the first Daft Punk release after they broke up. Um, that was it was interesting, wasn't it, that they used the word breakup, not that they decided to go into solo projects or give it like a nicer ring to it. What do you think happened there?
Yeah, they've always been pretty vague. I don't really think they did many interviews, and yeah, they never show their faces. Well, in the very beginning they did, but I think the last whatever years always like, they were like the robots. So yeah, I'm really curious what's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna leave the music business, but maybe they're going separate ways and focus on their own new projects maybe. I mean, they've always did like other stuff as well. They did stuff with The Weeknd. I think they did an album with Kanye West. I'm sure I forgot something, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep working like behind the scenes on like maybe new talents. I don't know. So I guess we have to wait and
Yeah,
see.
did you ever see them live?
Oh, I wish. My girlfriend is probably gonna check this out and she's gonna laugh because she's originally from Chile and there she got to see them. I think it was at Lollapalooza together with her sisters. So yeah, she got to see them live and I didn't. So yeah, I will have to hear this till the end of time, I guess. But yeah, they were like really on my wish list to see. But yeah, too bad.
Yeah, I saw a documentary. I can't remember if it was a documentary about them or a documentary. I think it was a documentary about how EDM exploded in America,
Mm-hmm.
and they made a big fuss about their Coachella set.
Yeah,
I think it was 2005-ish
yeah,
when they had the big production in a
yeah,
tent.
yeah. I think
Did you
I
see
think
that?
we saw the same documentary, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
can you imagine if you were there? Like, oh, that would have been like
yeah.
amazing. But yeah, no. Did you ever
I
see them
think that would
live?
have been a good one. No, I was never really a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit more on the pop side for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Around the World was cool. Ironically, their most poppy song.
Yeah, yeah,
But no, I'm not like a big expert on them. But I was kind of sad to see they broke up, nonetheless.
yeah, yeah. And but it was good. It was good for their like the streams and I'm sure like the record sales. So as soon as I
Yeah,
saw that they were gonna break up, I was like, ah, I had like on Discogs on my wanted list, I had their first release, but it wasn't really cheap, and I was always hoping like, okay, maybe I'm lucky and I can find like a cheap version. But as soon as I heard like they were gonna break up, I was like, yeah, the prices are gonna go up. So I managed to find
yeah.
a copy in good shape, and I got it, and a week later it got delivered, which was it yesterday or the day before? No, yesterday.
I think it was in the last couple of
Yeah,
days. Yeah.
yeah, and now there's only one more for sale, which is in worse condition than the one that I have, and it's for sale for 350 euros. And I paid, including shipping from the UK, I think like 72 euros. So yeah, I'm glad I was on time.
Good deal. Yeah, that will go up in value as well, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
More,
yeah.
even more so, I think. So I mentioned already that your Muzikxpress channel was like that's how I found out about you.
Mm-hmm.
You've interviewed lots of big names like Maxi Jazz and Sister Bliss from Faithless. Uh, I always say his name wrong. Jean-Marc Jarre, is that it?
Oh, Jean-Michel Jarre. Yeah,
That's it. I
yeah,
always get it
yeah,
mixed up. And Armin.
yeah.
I wonder, have you ever got a bit starstruck as you're starting to interview these people? Because there's some pretty big names there.
Well, I was actually nervous for the Jean-Michel Jarre interview because yeah, he's
Yeah,
like a legend, and when I was like a little kid, I used to listen to the cassette tapes with his synthesizer stuff on it, and yeah. So first of all, I was already very happy that I got the chance to interview him, and so yeah, I was like nervous, but he was so nice, super down to earth, just like yeah, like a regular guy. So yeah, there was no need to be nervous, but I was a bit nervous for that interview. And also for Maxi Jazz. I didn't interview Sister Bliss, by the way, but I did interview Maxi Jazz. But yeah, I think he was a little bit high, but he was super nice, very very nice guy, super friendly, and he was in a really good mood, and he had good stories. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm also like a fan of Faithless since the beginning. like Salva Mea was their first, the first track. That didn't become a big hit, but then Insomnia became a big hit, so they were smart and they re-released Salva Mea. But yeah, Maxi Jazz, he was super, super nice. I wish I could interview Rollo though, like the brain, like the main producer behind the project. But he's very, I think he likes to stay in the background, so I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But never say never.
I always thought Sister Bliss was the main producer. I know she does the keyboards.
Yeah, I think she does a lot of writing, but I think Rollo is like the main producer. He's like one of the founders as well. I don't think he really did tour with them like on stage. I think he's more like the,
Oh,
the, the, the studio guy. But yeah, I think Maxi Jazz and Sister Bliss, they always have been like the faces of the group.
yeah. Have you seen them live?
Yeah, yeah, several times. I think
Yeah, yeah. Same for me.
eight, 9 times I've seen them live. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's you're a hardcore fan then.
yeah, I love their stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you used to work for Trance.nu, right?
yeah, yeah. For like
Yeah.
I think
That was
nine
I was
years.
obsessed with that website.
Yeah, same here. Like every day on the forums, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you found out about like new music, and
Mm.
and yeah, and then you were listening to the radio shows, like A State of Trance, Trends Around the World, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on the forums.
Yeah, me too. I that was how I kind of how I first found out about A State of Trance
Hmm.
because you used to be able to vote for your favorite of the week or future
Yeah,
favorite
future favorite. Yeah,
on Trance.nu. Do
yeah,
you
yeah,
remember?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you were working on the forum or what was it you were doing? Because I know you did interviews for them. Is that right?
Yeah, I basically did like moderate the forums, which wasn't always fun because yeah, people were like, if you give them a warning, people start complaining and like, so that was also one of the reasons that I did stop because I was like, yeah, all these people that are like nagging, I'm spending my free time in this. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Um, but yeah, I did like a lot of interviews. I wrote some party reviews. But yeah, I always love doing interviews, so that's the main thing that I did for Trance.nu.
Yeah, that's the theme with you, interviews.
Yeah,
That's been going back a long time, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I used to work for local radio, and there we did some interviews as well. So at one point, I was working for local radio and for Trance.nu, which was good because yeah, the local radio station, it's like a really small station. But yeah, thanks to Trance.nu, we managed to get like big names. So because I could use the interviews in Dutch for the local radio station, and yeah, then the English written versions they went online. So win-win.
Two birds, one stone, as
Yeah,
they say,
exactly. Yeah.
right? And I think that's how you met Ferry Corsten for the first time, right? You went to his first studio in his house in
No,
Rotterdam, is that
I
right?
met Ferry before. Let me think. Was I already working for Trance.nu? I'm not. Yeah, yeah, no. I met Ferry before I was working for Trance.nu. I think the first time was somewhere like in 2001. Um, and I can't remember what year, but yeah, we did an interview with Ferry in his studio. Tim, he had like the nickname After Hour Power on Trance.nu. So yeah, one time we went to Ferry's studio, which was in the old house, and yeah, that was like a dream come true. Like, oh wow, you're in the studio of Ferry Corsten, and here he made like so
Yeah.
many great tracks, and yeah, so that was really cool. I was nervous for that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that room should be in a museum
Mhm.
because that was the room where all the Gouryella was made, all of the Moon Man, System F,
Yeah.
like in that first studio he had.
Mhm.
I've seen a bit of a clip on Dutch television that's on YouTube of him explaining his process in that room. And then I saw seen a different clip of Tiesto in there when they were working on a Gouryella track.
Yeah, they're working
And I'm
on
just like,
Valhalla in that
ah,
in that clip. So that's the old studio, and that's also where the old office used to be for quite some years.
oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was actually
So
Ferry's house,
then you,
but then later it became the office, and Ferry moved to another house, and then they kept the house, and it
ah,
was it was like the office and the studio.
all right. So it was a normal house, but it was also an office and a studio
Yeah, I mean, like,
uh,
yeah, it,
as
it
he
it
was.
wasn't really an office, but yeah, they turned the living room into an office, and yeah, the studio was at the attic.
Yeah. Okay. So then you started working with Ferry,
Yeah,
and then that was because of that. It led to you then. working with him directly. Is that right?
No, the thing is, because I was always a huge fan of Ferry, but this was in the
Yeah.
time that internet was just like starting up, and Ferry had like no
Okay.
website, and I was like, come on, man, I want to know if he's performing near me or what kind of stuff is going to be released, because I think this was 2000, 2001. So that was like, I think every month
Right.
there was like at least one Ferry production and maybe two remixes, because he did so much. But it was really hard
Yeah.
to find out, you know? So every time I went to the record stores, I was like checking like on the vinyl and in the credits, or, you know, stuff like that, because in the beginning I had like no clue how many different project names he had. Like, you know, Pulp Victim, Moon Man, he had so many different aliases. So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so I
It's
made,
people don't realize
yeah. So
how much
I
he's
made
done.
like, I mean, I'm not a web designer, but I just made something like really, yeah. I made like a website, and I had like all the information there. I made like a discography. I had like news items, so some tour dates, and people were emailing me like, okay, Ferry's performing in Berlin then and then, and because it was really difficult to find out stuff. I mean, there was no social media. I mean, there were forums, so yeah. And then
Yeah.
one time they called me up and they're like, hey, so what do you do for a living? I was like, yeah, okay, I work at this job and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, would you be interested in, yeah, to start working for Ferry on the website? And I was like, hello, yes. So yeah, first I started working like on the Fridays. I still could combine it with my old job. Then after 6 months, they already asked me like, okay, can you start working Thursdays and Fridays? So I did that, and then half a year later, they were like, okay, can you start working full time? I was like, yes, I can. And that was around the same time they started with Corsten's Corner, like the radio show.
Okay.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
became like my project. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you traveled as well to quite some nice places, right? Doing the Corsten's Countdown specials.
Yeah, we did several like big shows. You know, like Corsten's Corner was always like 1 hour. But for episode 250, we went to New York, to Sirius XM. So that was my first time
Okay.
New York, and yeah, that was insane. You know, you go to New York, you do like an 8 hour live radio show. Uh, yeah, you get to see a bit of New York, and yeah, and then the day after you go back home. So it was like a quick trip, but it was like, yeah, an amazing experience.
Yeah. So when you do that kind of broadcast, what year was that? New York,
Yeah, to
roughly?
episode 250. Oh, I should have looked this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what year that was. Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if it's like early 2000s, I'd
Hmm.
imagine like if it's live, internet speed is one of your biggest
Hmm.
concerns when you get there, right?
Oh
Like
no,
what's the
this
connection
was
going to be?
already in the time that there was like social media, so we had like Twitter and Facebook. So internet
Oh,
speed was
okay.
fine, and at Sirius XM they have like some high tech studios, and so yeah, that was not really an issue. So that was all good.
Yeah. There any interesting stories from going on the road with Ferry?
Mm, yeah, the first time I did travel with Ferry, that was, yeah, I can't remember what year, but that was on a Friday he had a gig in the Netherlands. Then on Saturday we went to Glasgow for Colours Fest. I think it was 2005 or 6. And Armin was there, Paul van Dijk was there, Mike Push, Giuseppe Ottaviani was there, and then they still did like the New Energy project. So yeah, lots of big names. Yeah, and I remember like, yeah, Armin was there. I think he was together with Michael Piron from Amara. So yeah, we were like chatting there, and I was like, oh wow, I'm sitting here with all these guys, and it was just like fun, you know. That was really cool. And then the day after, we traveled to Stockholm in Sweden, um, and I only remember that Ferry said like, yeah, this is going to be like a really good party, because at that time he hasn't been in Sweden for like I think 2 or 3 years. So people were really excited to see Ferry, and yeah, that was like an amazing party. I remember like they got champagne and shots, and like, yeah, I was like really drunk. I think I was in the bed of the hotel room. It was around 5 a.m. We had to wake up early to go back to the airport, and I was like, oh, I'm so tired, and was a bit hungover. And then at 1 a.m. we were back at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. Ferry's dad picked us up. Ferry went back to the studio, and I was like, oh, was like, oh, I'm gonna make some music, and I was like, oh, I just want to go home and sleep. So yeah, Ferry was still like, he was enthusiastic enough to go back to the studio to make some music. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was my first trip
his,
with Ferry, so he is used to that. And yeah, this was Europe, so there's like no different time zones or jet lags or stuff like that. So yeah, that was my first trip with Ferry.
Nice. I'm curious what you think about, because as someone who's in Holland at the minute, you've got more of an insight.
Mhm.
I was quite surprised that Outer Events announced the State of Trance 1000 in September. It seemed like a brave move
Mhm.
because, I mean, currently it's illegal for people from England or from America or any third country to even enter the EU. So, what do you think? Do they know something we don't? Like, they're very optimistic,
Yeah, I
and it's
mean,
sold out
I
straight
I
away.
mean, yeah, I'm not surprised that it's sold out because people are really eager. They really want to go
Yeah,
to an event again. So, but yeah, I think it's a very brave move, that's for sure. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, really, they started vaccinating here now. So by the time it's September, hopefully things will be finally better because yeah, it's taking like a long time now. But they did some test events in the Netherlands, and they're still doing other test events. And yeah, so I guess we have to wait and see. But I don't have any inside
so
information or whatever. But
no,
but yeah, as I said, like they started vaccinating now, so yeah, hopefully that's all
yeah,
done like really soon, and then yeah, September.
yeah,
Because right now the government says like okay, events should be possible again starting July, but there's also
okay,
rumors that they say like okay, maybe we do June, because the summer is very important, of course, for the event industry. So
mm.
yeah, that would be
Especially in
great.
Holland.
That would be great because yeah, Luminosity, the beach festival, is the end of June. So yeah, if that
Yeah,
can happen, that would be great. But yeah, then again, as you said, some countries, I think also Australia, people from there, they're also not allowed to leave the country, and I'm I'm not quite
yeah,
sure how it is with the rest in the world, but yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, of course.
yeah. I mean, even Creamfields, which is the weekend before in the UK, I'm surprised they announced and they sold out in record time as well. And it's like as soon as the UK government announced that, okay, around from June onwards, if things go to plan, you're good to go. Like everybody went crazy and started putting on these festivals and selling them out. And I think the last year has shown us that it's kind of a bit of a risk. Like things can change and drag out more than they thought. But hopefully it all goes to plan, right? But I was just really surprised. I wasn't surprised it sold out. I was just surprised that they didn't wait a bit longer, to make
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. It
interesting.
was a very brave move, but yeah, good for them. So
Mm.
I think it sold out within
Yeah,
like 1 or 2 hours or something like that.
yeah, crazy. What's the capacity? Is it 30,000 or is it more? The total
I'm
over
not
the
100%
whole
sure because yeah,
site?
I know it's 2 days this time. I think Friday, Saturday, and I
Yeah.
think they sold 55,000 tickets.
Whew.
So, but yeah, the Jaarbeurs, that's where they did like some previous State of Trance shows. Trans Energy was always there, not always, but Trans Energy has been held several times there.
Mm.
So, and yeah, Utrecht is like very central in the Netherlands. So people that
Yeah.
travel from abroad that go via Amsterdam, I think it's like 20-30 minutes by train from Amsterdam. So yeah,
Yeah, I went there 2015 for the
okay,
State of Trance. So
yeah,
I've been there once.
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy event. But yeah, same weekend as the Dutch Formula One. So Max Verstappen won't be there, I guess. Or maybe he will.
Maybe if he wins, he wants a party, and then yeah, you
He wants
never
to
know.
party, right? He
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
him. Maybe he'll turn up with his friend Martin Garrix. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean that's also a bit a thing. Like lots of Dutch events, several Dutch events. I think Awakenings is in the same weekend,
Oh,
and
is it?
there was another.
Techno festival, right?
Yeah, Awakenings, and I think there's another one. There's like several festivals and big events in the same weekend. So people are like, okay, what's going to happen with like security? Is there enough security for every event? Like the food and the drinks. Yeah, stuff like that. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Do you go? Are you gonna go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, yeah.
You are? Oh, nice. So I saw something about, are you working with Luminosity now? Like, are you doing some work for them?
Yeah. I help with the social media stuff, and yeah, I
Oh, cool.
organize like the live streams that we usually do on Friday. So yeah,
No, nice. How did that come about? Just because they knew you from, I mean, you're all the Dutch people know each other, right, in the
Yeah, I
industry.
mean,
Like,
I think I think I was actually at the very first Luminosity event. I think that was still
yeah.
in Utrecht in Club Puma. I think it was Finn and friends. And so I know Bo since he started like that Luminosity, because at that time I was still working for Trance.nu, so I did help him like with news items, and I was already promoting for Luminosity back then, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So
I didn't know it was that old. When did it start?
um, Finn and Friends, was it 2006, 7? Sometimes I'm
Okay.
so bad like with like the years. So so yeah, then I unfortunately I had to stop working for Ferry. So yeah, I was looking for a new job, and then yeah, I approached Bo and he said yes. So here I am.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, it's good that you're working in an industry that you know so well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw they're doing an event or planning to do an event in June or July, right? But it's the not is it reduced or what is it? What's the difference
No, we have
between the
the
luminosity this year
yeah we have the
normal?
we have the Luminosity Beach Festival. That's always like 4 days, so that's the end of June. So yeah, we're really hoping that we can still do that. And then always at the end of the summer, there's another festival, which is usually
September.
yeah, usually it's like September or like August or September. This year it's the last weekend of August, and we added like one extra day. So instead of 2 days, now it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's called Luminosity at the Beach.
Right. So the one that the main sort of one that's been the annual event, that is happening as normal, is it? The full thing?
Sorry? Well,
So luminosity, the kind of annual big one that everyone
mhm,
knows about,
mhm.
that's happening as normal, the full capacity and everything.
Yeah, I mean it's the end of June, so the Dutch government
Yeah.
said,
So they're really hopeful.
yeah, that's the thing. We don't know yet if it will happen, so we have to wait until we get
Ah,
some more
okay.
information from the Dutch government. I mean, okay, we can probably say now like, okay, we're not gonna do it, but yeah, what if the government says like, okay, June is still okay, because people already booked
Right.
flights and hotel, and yeah, everybody really wants to go like to a party. I mean, I really
Yeah.
hope it's yeah that it can happen, but yeah, I wish I had like this. How do you say it like in English, like a glass bowl, so you can look into the future. But yeah,
Yes.
it's really difficult times, because yeah, nobody can predict the future. And yeah, if you say now, okay, we're not gonna do it, and the Dutch government says like, okay, parties in June should be safe, yeah, then you already said like, yeah, we're not gonna do it. So yeah,
Yeah. As a person who's promoted events myself over the years, I can only imagine how nerve-wracking that is for everybody at the at Luminosity, because that is so stressful because the
yeah,
amount of booking fees and agents you've got to keep talking to, blah blah blah.
yeah.
Like, yeah, but I really hope it goes ahead. Speaking of Dutch events, you went to the. If I could go back in time,
Hmm.
the one event I would go to would be the first Tiesto in concert in 2003. And you went to that event, right?
I was there.
Yeah. So please tell me, because I've seen the DVD about
Hmm.
30
Hmm.
times, but obviously I don't, what was it like from your perspective? Like, what was it like to actually go to that event? Because for me, that was like a game-changing event in terms of production
Hmm.
and everything.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah, we went with like a whole group of friends, and I mean my friends are not like huge trance lovers, but yeah, they were like, yeah, okay, they like Chesto, and they were like, okay, this should be a good night out. So I can't remember how many people. I think at least with 10 people we went to Arnhem by train, and yeah, we were like super excited, because yeah, it was gonna be just Chesto, and we knew the production and everything was gonna be like really good. So yeah, it was like very exciting. It was really good, and I just liked, he was like changing shirts, and he had like different teams, and I heard so much music that I never heard before, like all these things. I think this was the first time I heard like Who is the Starter from Ernesto versus Bastian. Yeah, of course the Tiesto
Mm.
version of Adagio for Strings. I think the very last track was No Regular from Ricky Phobos. And
Yeah, it
and
was.
and the good thing is that this was the last track. And normally Dutch people, if an event ends at 6, around 3 people start to leave, around 4, and at 5 you only have like the die-hard people that still want to stay till the end. But this event, I think it ended at 6 or 7. if you check the DVD at the end, you see that it's like super full. Everybody is still there, you know, and this is like not very this is not very Dutch. So usually when there's like an event, like when we had like Trance Energy and A State of Trance, when we get like lots of people from abroad, they all still stay till the end. You know, Dutch people, they're like, yeah, let's go home. And yeah, I mean, Dutch crowd, okay, I'm Dutch, so I think I can say this, but I think Dutch crowd is a bit boring. I'm also not really, when I go to an event, I'm not really like outgoing. I just enjoy the music and everything. I don't really think you would see me like dance and go crazy. I just enjoy the music and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. What was the energy like when that Tiesto, because that was the first time his cover of Adagio for Strings had ever been played, right? What was that like when it kicked in, and because no one had heard it before, right?
Yeah,
What was that
exactly.
like?
I was like, hey, this really sounds like Adagio for Strings. I was like, this is not Ferry's remix. I was like, Yeah, it was like, I think the Tiesto version is like really energetic. Of course, I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of the Ferry version. I think that's to me that's the best version. Like, you know, more, how do you say it? Like more emotional, more to the original Samuel Barber track. But yeah, the Tiesto version, yeah, it works great on the dance floor, that's for sure. So when we heard that, it
yeah,
was like, oh wow, yeah, this is really good. Yeah,
yeah. I can only imagine what that
yeah,
was like with that crowd.
yeah.
It must have been crazy. Have you ever heard any kind of crazy stories about that event or anything like behind the scenes? Because just out of interest.
No, not really from this one. But yeah, I've been checking the DVD as well, and I think there was also, or maybe it's on YouTube. There was something like the making of, or you see how everything goes
Yeah,
when they like plan it, and yeah, I think they were also like, I think the team behind it was also really like, what's going on, you know, like, because this was the first time that they were doing this, you know, and yeah, 25,000 people, so yeah, sold out like weeks in advance. So yeah, that showed how big
yeah.
Tiesto yeah was here.
I think they said they hoped to get 10,000,
Hmm.
and then it sold out.
Yeah,
And I think they were pleasantly surprised, right?
yeah,
Because they said, because it was really the follow-up, I think, to the 2002 Dutch Dimension event.
yeah, the one in
Um,
February. Yeah,
because that was kind of similar. It had live performances, right, with
hmm,
Jan Johnston and people
yeah,
like that. And then I think they realized they could do this on a much bigger level.
yeah.
And then Tiesto didn't play in Holland for like a year, I think. Is that right? To like build the anticipation
Oh,
to
that
see
might
him
be.
again.
I'm not quite sure. That might be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I picked up Mark Norman. They were DJing at a club here in Plymouth, and I asked them about that event because I'm a bit obsessed with it.
Hmm.
And they said that they gave Tiesto their track Rush
Hmm.
that week as like a demo for the label. And then he played it at that event, and they didn't know it was going to happen. And they were watching from like the VIP area or something,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Oh my God." So I thought
Wow.
that was a really cool story.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to his Magic Music record store in Breda?
Yeah, not very often. I think I've been there like maybe 3, 4 times. So yeah, I know
Yeah,
what's his name? DJ Dazzle. He used to work behind the counter.
yeah.
I know. I think Cor
Montana?
Feyenoman. Cor Feyenoman used to work there. DJ Montana.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think I've been there like 4, maybe 5 times. So yeah.
Oh yeah. What was it like? Because it's quite small, but obviously record stores aren't really supposed to be
Hmm.
gigantic, right?
Yeah.
What is Breda like? It's quite a small place, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but Breda is like really, really nice. I mean, was it like I think 2 years ago I did a vlog about like the most important Tiesto landmarks in Breda. So
Yeah.
so then I actually went to the record store. It's not there anymore. Now it's like a coffee place. So yeah,
Okay.
I went there, and I know there's a picture also in the vlog that Tiesto went there himself some years ago to have a coffee and to see what the
Yeah, I
place
think I
looks
saw
like
that.
right now. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I love
Yeah,
Breda. It's
yeah,
a very nice, pretty city, very historic.
yeah,
So yeah, if you ever have the chance,
yeah,
go check it out.
yeah. I should do. What was the name of that club he used to play? It began with S. That
Club
little club
Spock.
he played.
Yeah, Club
That's
Spock.
it. Is that still good? Is that still open?
I think now it's called. I'm not sure. I think it's Graanbeurs, but I've never been there myself like back in the day. So
No.
I never really saw Tiesto play there. Um, I think it's called Graanbeurs now, and I think they play like techno, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, just how famous was Tiesto back then in Holland? Because it's difficult for in the UK, he was obviously a big DJ, but nobody really knew him outside of DJing, right?
Hmm.
But in order to fill 25,000 people like that, and obviously I know he had the first ever instrumental #1 in the charts in Holland, right, with Flight 643, I think.
I'm sure we had like instrumental #1s before. Like what was his name? Crockett's Team, Jan Hammer, this from Miami Vice,
Right?
1986.
Don't know
Yeah,
that one.
I'm old, so yeah. But or maybe it was the first Dutch. I'm not sure. But what was it #1? I can't remember. But yeah, he was
Maybe,
famous. He was famous here. That's
yeah, like really, really, like just how big was he in terms, like, would people who didn't know his music know him, like back then,
yeah. I mean, yeah, he
or
was
was
on
it
TV.
still
So
underground?
yeah, I mean, he was on TV and stuff like that. And yeah, he had like chart success. So yeah, people obviously knew yeah who he was. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, nice. Did you ever go to Sensation?
Yeah, I think the Dutch version I went twice, 2005, 6, 7, so around that time.
Oh, the later ones. Well, later from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning.
2004,
2000, so
2006, maybe 2004, 2006. I went twice in the Netherlands. One time I went to the one in Belgium, and one time I was lucky enough to join Ferry to Sensation White in St. Petersburg in Russia. And there
oh,
they had, was it like a DJ Feel, who's from Russia himself, Carl Cox, who's like amazing guy, and
yeah.
Fedele Grand was there, and Ferry. So yeah, that was yeah. But yeah, the Dutch one.
What was
I
what
remember
was
my first Sensation White when it started. You look in the Amsterdam Arena, everybody dressed in white, and I'm spoiled because I've seen like a lot of events and whatever, and I was like, wow, I was really really yeah. I think we just spoke about the Chesto in concert. I think that one is definitely in my top 5, and my first Sensation White because yeah, I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, like the whole production,
yeah,
and it's just so. I mean, the idea is so simple. Okay, we're all gonna dress in white, but it's so cool if everybody does that, because actually it's a dress code. You're not allowed if you're not wearing white. They say like, oh no, this is the dress code. Everybody knows it. Everybody should wear it. If you don't dress white, I actually know a story. I'm not gonna say who it is. There was a DJ going to Sensation White, and he was not wearing white. And then the story is that they said like, okay, you have to wear white even if you're the DJ because this is what it says in the contract, blah blah blah. So they gave him like a white shirt or whatever, so he was dressed white, and they said like, okay, next time if we book you and if you don't wear white, then you will never ever play at an IDT event anymore in your life.
oh,
That's what
they
I heard.
take
I'm
it
not sure.
seriously.
I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I can imagine they do that. It makes sense. I mean, that is the
Yeah,
whole idea. That's the whole theme of
exactly.
the
That's the
party,
whole
right?
point. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about Duncan? I might be saying his name wrong. Duncan Stutterheim, the D in
Yeah,
ID&T.
yeah. Duncan Sutterheim. Yeah, I think he's a smart
Yeah.
businessman, and it's somewhere behind there. There's like this book. It's called like IDT Release. I think they also have like an English version. It's very
Oh,
interesting, because it tells the story about IDT and how they started and everything. And yeah, I mean, I don't read much, but if I read something, it's about music, and I like those stories. And that book, I think it's called, yeah, or Celebrate Life. If you look for a book, yeah, IDT, the story behind IDT, yeah, if you have the
oh.
chance, you should definitely check it out because it's really good. Yeah,
Have you watched his DVD, God is My DJ?
yeah, yeah. I have that one as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I imported that from Holland years ago,
Oh, cool.
and I thought it was really cool. And they show like him working with Armin to finish
Yes,
I think it was the
yeah. I think
2006 Sensation
Serenity.
anthem.
I think it was Serenity. Yeah,
Yeah, with the Jan
yeah.
Vane, is
John
it?
Vane,
I
like
might be saying
the guy with the
the
long hair.
piano player. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then they show you them performing it on stage, and he at Sensation White, and he plays it on the piano.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see it coming together. I thought that was nice. So, what's just kind of finishing off the chat? What's your plan for the Music Express? It's a great channel. You've interviewed loads of people already. Um, eventually, do you think you'll run out of people to talk to?
No, I mean that's the thing. I don't focus on like one genre. I mean, I try to get some people from like outside like the dance genre, but that's difficult. I only have, I think the only person that I have that's not related to anything dance, George Baker, Little Green Bag. It's the opening track of Reservoir Dogs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he is like, I think he's 70 whatever now. I think he's 75. I'm not sure. But this guy, this was his first ever song that he wrote. I think it was 1969. Or not 90s. No, I always forget how I say it like in English. In the end of the 60s. 69, right?
Okay.
Yeah, 69. So that was his first ever track. And he can still live from that track. So he tells the story behind that one and how it got into the movie from Tarantino. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't really think I'm going to run out of people. Some people I did interview twice already, or 3 times. But the thing is, like, I can do interviews with people from the trance scene, the techno scene, house, happy hardcore, Eurodance. I'm going to do an interview with a well-known... I'm not sure if they were famous in the UK. The 2 brothers on the 4th floor.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they had like.
I'm not sure. I'm rubbish. My memory is.
Oh yeah, they had like Never Alone, Dreams. So yeah, my very first ever interview was actually with that producer in. I actually have the cassette tape here. Hold on. 1995.
Cassette tape.
Yeah. This was like my very first ever interview, 1995. So yeah, but he moved into a new studio, and yeah, later this year I'm going to interview him again. I'm not going to mention the name. I have somebody confirmed. Who's like hardly ever doing interviews. The big trance classic 20 years ago. He's working on new music, so yeah, I'm gonna sit down with him. I'm very happy about that one because I expect like a lot of views on that one.
Good.
Yeah, there are so many people that I still want to talk to. The only problem now is that there's like, because there are like no events, no people from abroad come to the Netherlands. But yeah, hopefully by the time it's summer, that will change, and then hopefully I can speak to some names from like other countries. So fingers crossed.
You've traveled around a lot as well, right, to do these? Like I think you went to London and places like that. Like where did you interview Maxi Jazz?
This is the best part. The Maxi Jazz interview right now, it's almost because it had a bit of a how do you say it? Like I don't want to call it like viral, but the views went really up like the last 3 weeks. Because it got like recommended on YouTube, so that was good for my channel. I recorded that video 5 minutes away from my house. I live in a small town in the south of the Netherlands, and he was here for a festival, which is like 15 minutes away from me. So yeah, I emailed him, no reply. Then 2 weeks before the festival, I was like, yeah, come on, man, he's gonna be here. I need to talk to him. I'm a big fan of Faithless. I emailed again, and he was like, oh yeah, sorry, I was in Jamaica. Here's the email of my tour manager, and let's fix this. So it was recorded in a hotel 5 minutes away from my home. So yeah, I did not have to travel very far for that one. But yeah, as you said, like London, 2019 I went to London. I have friends in London, so I could stay with them. Then I did 2 interviews with Lange, 2 interviews with Darren Tate, 3 interviews with the guys from the Space Brothers. One with Adamski about Killer, which I was very happy about because I love that track. And then on the day I was traveling back, I went to Camden and I sat down with Rosella to talk about Everybody's Free to Feel Good. She is so nice. She's like really nice. So yeah. And last year I did a 3-day trip to Frankfurt. That's like a 3-hour drive. And there I did like interviews with Jem Almar from Jam and Spoon, Dance to Trance, Kai Tressett, Thomas P. Heckman. He did Drex, Amphetamine. You said you're rubbish with titles, but if you hear it, you will know it for sure. And I did 2 interviews with Matthias Hofmann. He's the guy from Cygnus X. And he never does interviews. Very hard to find. No LinkedIn, no social media. So yeah, I was really happy when I found him, and I was even more happy when he replied to my email and he said like, oh yeah, that's a cool channel, let's do it. So he was very enthusiastic and super nice guy. So yeah, very happy with that one as well.
I think my 2 favorites from your channel are probably Stephen Hellstrip, Thrill Seekers.
Yeah.
Because I loved his story about like the what happened with the labels
Hmm.
and how
Yeah,
he got offered this big sum after he signed it, and
yeah,
he was just like,
yeah.
no. Like that's the kind of thing you like. I love those kind of stories, you know, like the kind of industry stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I loved his interview, and Jam Elmar, the his studio.
Yeah,
Have I said his name wrong?
yeah. Jam Elmar. Yeah,
Jam.
his name is Rolf
Yeah,
Elmer, but
his
yeah,
studio was
it's insane. Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm a big
he has
fan of.
that big Euro rack.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like Jam and Spoon for like many years already. Um,
Yes.
so I kind of helped him with his first gig in the Netherlands when he did like the Luminosity gig. Because I'm a big
Cool.
fan, and Bo asked me like, okay, who should I? Sometimes he's asking me like, okay, who should I book? It's like, yeah, well, he started DJing now, so yeah, I'm sure, yeah, he would he would fit in the Luminosity lineup. So yeah, we always stayed in touch, and then I was like, yeah, I started this channel. I was like, if I come to Frankfurt, I would really love to interview you. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. And he's also like such a nice guy. He's like very talented, and yeah, I'm sure he has like tons of stories more. So yeah, I hope to be able to go back another time and ask him some more.
Yeah, that the track Storm by
Yeah.
Storm,
Hmm.
that was such an underrated record. Like
Yeah.
I love that record.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it's a shame sometimes that these guys use all these different aliases and
Hmm.
people kind of lose track on like just how many good tracks they've made.
Yeah.
I often think it holds their career back a bit, you know? What do you think?
Yeah. But yeah, back in the day, people were because that's also what I asked him like in the interview. It's like, okay, why did you do like another alias? But yeah, Jam and Spoon was more like it had a bit more like a happy trancy sound. And yeah, Storm was a bit more techy, so they needed like a new project for that. So that was the reason.
Yeah, I think they overthink it a bit. I think they think tracks are if it was R&B and like techno, okay, I get it, right? Use different aliases. But yeah, I sometimes wish they just stuck to one name. I think people would appreciate them more, that's all. But yeah. But yeah, those are two great interviews. So before I go, I have to shout out my friend Leighton, who helped me do about 400 Skype calls to test the setup. So thank you to my friend Leighton for helping me get this going. And thanks, man, for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. I hope it was okay with you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, and yeah, good luck with your podcast. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Thank you. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is called Muzikxpress. But if you type in like, for example, the story behind the Viracocha Carte Blanche, Ferry Corsten, then the first video that will show up is Ferry in the studio. So then you can
Yeah,
find my channel, or Maxi Jazz, God as a DJ. That interview is doing really well now. So yeah, should be easy to find.
awesome. All right, well, thanks a lot for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you'd like to help me think of questions for my future guests, please go to the DizzyGo Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/DizzyGo.